Hi, this is Julian Rao, Independent Senior Sales Director with Mary Kay. I'm going to be going over session 4 on business management for Pink Bootcamp. So if you haven't already, make sure that you have your Pink Bootcamp workbook printed out. It's in the same section where this video is. Make sure you have it printed out either in black and white or color, either way, and that way you can follow along with some of the things I'm going to be referencing throughout this. So business management is probably one of my favorite topics in Pink Bootcamp because we're talking about time and money and how to win. And I don't know about you guys, but I love to win and I also love money. And I have figured out that in order to do both of those things, I also have to have my time management in place. So we're going to talk about all three of those things. So the first page in that section it says how to win in your business, or know how to win in your business. So that's what we're going to talk about first. I want to make sure that everybody understands these three things. So it tells you that you can win every single week, you can win every month, and you can win every quarter as well as every year in Mary Kay. And so we're going to start with every week. So every week you can be a Success by Saturday achiever in your unit. And so what that means is that either you sold at least $300 or more retail, or you booked at least 3 new parties or 10 new faces that week, or that you did 3 career chats with your director. Okay, so either you did one of those 3 things, you did 2 of those 3, or you did all 3. And so, for each one that you complete, you're going to get a prize from your director at your success night the next week. And so the way that we know that you did it is you have to submit it on our website. And so for my unit, you just go to my website, julianraomk.com, same place where you are to access these videos. And there is a little thing on the right side that says form submissions, and there's Success by Saturday on there. So you'll click on that, and it's really simple. It just asks you for your name and your director's name, and then you fill in the different fields. It says how many career chats did you do. If you did 0, then you type in 0. And then when it asks you how many new bookings, you're going to specify and say, 3 parties or 10 faces or whatever it is. And then for your sales, you're including the women that you actually saw in person and did a live beauty experience with. You're including those sales, but you're also including sales that you might have gotten throughout the week from just on-the-go orders out and about, or maybe you got reorders from customers. And so you're going to include all of that. All of that counts. And so then you're going to get your prize the next week at Success Night, but you're also going to get recognition on our unit Facebook page on Mondays. So on Mondays, we post who turned it in and what they did. And so I also include myself. We include the directors in that too, so that you guys know what we did. So that's how you can win every week with Success by Saturday. And so the way that you'll also track that, because you want to fill it in and submit it to your director, but this is also a way for you to really get in the habit of tracking. So what I have learned in the last 5 years as a Mary Kay business owner is that a tracked number grows. And if you're not tracking it, then you're not really sure where you are, and you're just kind of floundering, and you're probably not super clear on where you want to go. So you have to learn how to track. If you don't like to track, if you don't like numbers, it's okay. There are plenty of directors who I know don't like numbers and don't like tracking, but they've learned to love tracking because they're obsessed with the results. They're obsessed with seeing their results on paper, and that's really fun to do. So this is the Success by Saturday tracking sheet, and it is in your packet, in your workbook. And so I just want to explain how to fill this out, because it might be just a little confusing to somebody who hasn't done it before. So if you notice on the sheet, it has week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 for each week during the month. And so on, any given week, you're just going to write in where it says faces. You're going to write in the women that you actually put product on. Like you physically had them at a success night, or you did a party with them at their home or at your home. But either way, you were in front of them live and in person and actually did a full-on beauty experience with them, whether it was their first appointment with you or their second appointment with you, either way. And so you would just write in those women's names, and then there's a place for you to write how much they bought from you. And so this amount is going to be before tax and before any gift cards or discounts that you might have given them. So like if they, were a referral, and they, for my referrals, they get a $10 gift card. So like, let's just say they spent $100. So I would write $100. And then the way that I track how much I'm giving away is right out to the right of that. I just write in parentheses minus $10. Because either way, there was still $100 worth of retail product that went off my shelf and into her home. And then I just keep up with how much I'm giving away, because that also, you don't want to skew how much you should be reordering. Regardless of how much you gave her in free product, you still gave it to her. So you write that on there. And then, so those are for the people that actually did a facial with you, actually did a live beauty experience with you. And then each week there's a place, I don't know if you guys can really see it, there's a place that says reorders. And so for the women that are already your customers, that maybe they text you that week and they said, hey girl, I need XYZ, or maybe you reached out to her and just to check on her and she reordered from you, meaning she's already held a beauty experience with you and she's a customer. So you're going to write in what she bought from you under reorders. You're not going to need to write her name up here under faces, and you're not going to need to write how much she bought up there because you didn't physically see her and do a beauty experience with her. And then on the go is kind of the same thing. On the go is just maybe you were at work and somebody just was like, hey, I need a mascara, or maybe you were out somewhere and somebody saw that you were wearing your Mary Kay pin and they said, hey, I need this, or just, on the go. Wasn't necessarily a customer. It was just somebody. So it may be that you have some reorders and no on the go, or vice versa, and until you really start building a customer base, you're not going to have reorders, but that's going to change in a couple months. And then your total sales. So you would total up all your face sales, and then you would total up your reorders and your on the go, and that would be your total sales for the week. So as long as it's at least $300 or more, you're going to get recognition and you're going to get to pick a prize at Success Night. And then the women that you career chat with your director, you're just going to write their name over here where it says career chat. It doesn't matter whether they joined or not. It's just you're writing them down. And then the last part is bookings right here. Okay, so the people that this is the part that I think sometimes gets confusing. It's not the people that you necessarily physically saw that week. It's who were you on the phone with or who did you talk to this week that you booked. Whether it may be that you booked them for the same week. But like, let's say I was making phone calls on Sunday night like I normally do, and I booked her for the next week. Then even though she's not booked until next week, I still talked to her and got her scheduled that day, which was part of this week. So I write her name down. Okay, so it may be that you have her scheduled for that same week, and that's okay, but you still booked her. So because you can get a prize just for the number of bookings that you added to your calendar that week. Okay, and so you're gonna do that every single week, and then at the very bottom down here, it says reorder sales. You're gonna add up all your reorders from each week. So these are people that are already customers that you didn't see, in person and do a live beauty experience with. So you're going to add up those numbers and put that down here under reorder sales. And then same with on the go sales. These are people that you just saw out and about, or that, somebody from work or whatever the case is, or not necessarily a customer. So you're going to, total that up from each week on the go, and total that for on the go sales. And then it says your total, this is what you do at the very end of the month. This whole bottom part is just at the end of the month. So at the very bottom down here, it says total sales retail. So your total retail sales. So that's all the faces that you saw for the entire month, plus your on the go and your reorder total sales that we wrote down here. That's your total sales. And then what was your wholesale reorder? So let's say that you sold $2,000. Then your profit would be $1,000, and you should be reordering $1,000 just to replace what you sold. Okay, so you would write $1,000 or whatever it is. Now, let's say that part of your profit, let's say you're not at a full store yet and you're growing your store. And so you've made the decision that you're going to invest some of your profit to build your store, to get it to a full store. And so, let's say that you reinvested $200 of your profit that month. So then you would write 200 over here where it says wholesale invested. Okay, so really your total wholesale would have been $1,200, but we want to differentiate between what was just replacing what you sold and what is adding to your inventory. So I hope that makes sense. We're going to talk more about that in a few minutes. So that's how you fill out your Success by Saturday sheet. So I just keep this, I have one myself similar to it, and I keep it in my focus folder. And I love to go home and write in what I just did. If I just had a party, or I just had a facial, or I just had a career chat, or whatever, I love to go in and fill it in. It's just fun. I think it's just a natural, innate thing that we like to check things off. We like to fill things in when we're excited. So, the idea is not to wait till the very end of the month to fill this in. It's to do it each week. And then that way too, you can get your recognition each week, and you can get a prize each week from your director just for tracking and just by doing the activity. So that's how Success by Saturday works. Okay. If we go back to the sheet that says know how to win in your business. Okay. The next one says every month you can win and achieve. So every month you can win and achieve you can be a Success by Saturday achiever every single week, but you can also earn a bracelet. I'm wearing some of them right now. You can earn a bracelet from Mary Kay, and the bracelets all have a cute little word on them. Like this one says confident, and then they have like a little charm that goes with it. And so they change every single month for the seminar year. And so the way that you earn your bracelet is that you've placed a minimum of a $600 or higher wholesale order any given month. Okay, so that $600 or higher wholesale order could be that you're a brand new consultant and that was your initial inventory order. Like let's say you came in as a Ruby Star at $2,400, then you're going to be earning your bracelet just because of that initial order. But then, every month past that, after that, you're going to earn your bracelet because you've sold at least $1,200 so that you can reorder $600 to replace your inventory that you sold, and then you're profiting $600. Okay, so, I think that the bracelet program is so cool. I'm so glad that they started doing this. So they didn't do this a few years ago. They just started it last year. And I think it's a really fun way to incentivize women to be at that business level. And what I mean by that is, in my opinion, if you're not selling at least $1,200 or higher and making that $600 profit and, reordering $600 or more, then it's not that, you're not a good Mary Kay consultant. It's just that it's not probably really a business to you. It's probably more a hobby level, or it's just very, very, very part-time. So someone who really wants to build a business is probably going to be selling at least $1,200 or more to profit $600 or more, and then that just flows right into every quarter you can be a star consultant. And so the company is just so smart, because if you're earning a bracelet every single month, then you're always going to be a star consultant, always. And when you're a star consultant, it's just extremely prestigious. I actually have my little pin right here. So when you're a star consultant, you got your little ladder pin in the mail, and it gives you a number. And so this says 18. I've actually been a star consultant 19 quarters. I just got my 19 the other day. I just haven't put it in yet. But it means that I have been a star consultant every single quarter that I've been a Mary Kay. Okay, and I'm very, very proud of that accolade. I've never missed, because I've definitely had seasons of ebbs and flows in my business. But that is one thing that I have never, gotten away from, that I've never fallen back on. So being a star consultant, you get your ladder pin, but then the cool thing is you get to pick a prize. So every quarter the company has a poster that has all the prizes that you can earn, and there's different prizes at the different levels. So at the sapphire, the ruby, the diamond, the emerald, the pearl, and the pearl plus level. And so obviously the higher the star you are, the more, the better the prizes are. The more expensive they are, the nicer they are. And so you get to pick your fun prize from Mary Kay. You earn an invitation to your director's quarterly star party. We always have something for star consultants within our unit or within our area that you get to come to for free. You don't have to pay for it. We pay for it. And of course, you get recognition in our newsletter for our unit, and also in our area, in our Unlocked National Area newsletter. You get recognition there too. And so the star quarters are always the same. It's always, quarter one is June 16th to September 15th. Q2 is September 16th to December 15th. Q3 is December 16th to March 15th. And Q4 is March 16th to June 15th. So it's, the same all the time. And it just keeps rolling. So it's really important that, all of this just really flows together. That's what I want you guys to understand, is that if you're doing Success by Saturday every single week, for the sales piece at least, if you're selling at least $300 a week, then in a month you will have sold at least $1,200, which means that you're going to earn a bracelet. And if you're earning a bracelet, it means that you're also going to be a star, as long as you're doing it every single month. So all of this just flows together, and it gives you a place to win. So I'm all about that. So then there is a sheet in your workbook that says 21 ways to finish your star. We're not going to go over this, but let's just say that, it's getting close to the end of the quarter and you're still a little bit away from hitting your goal, and you need some quick ideas to finish your star. Here's some ideas. Or maybe you already are a star and you want to bump your star up to a higher level. Then here's some ways for you to do that. Okay. And the other cool thing, we already talked about prizes a little bit for being a star, but the company this year is doing a special promotion where when you're an all-star, meaning you're a star every single quarter this year, then you get to pick a Kate Spade prize based on where you are, okay? And so even if you didn't come into Mary Kay until later on, like let's say you came into Mary Kay in December, so you came in almost halfway through the year. There's still a way for you to be eligible to earn these prizes. They're not going to punish you just because you came into Mary Kay a little bit later. So you can talk to your director about that specifically. Okay. So let's see where we are. The next thing we're going to talk about, we're going to switch gears just a little bit, and we're going to talk about time management. This is one of my favorite topics, and it's super duper important. So look at my notes just a little bit here. Okay. So in your packet, or in your workbook, there's a sheet that says your weekly plan sheet. Okay. And so I know that as new independent beauty consultants, you receive a beautiful planner from Mary Kay. I did not receive a really cute planner. We got one. It just wasn't that cute. It wasn't that functional. So I got my own. But the one that they give to new consultants now is really cute and really functional, I think. So you can definitely use that. But I just like to use a couple different things. I have my planner that I use that's daily. Okay, that's daily. And then I have a calendar, just Googled, I just Google, whatever month we're in. And I get just like a blank template of that calendar, and that's what I use for my bookings. Like, it's not for anything else, it's just to show when my bookings are going to be. So like I highlight in green the days where I'm going to hold appointments. So I of course highlight my 2 success nights, I highlight Saturdays, and I highlight Thursdays, because those are the days that I'm willing to hold live beauty experiences. Okay, so I like to have that. But then I also like to have this so I can see the whole week at a glance. So you don't have to do all 3 of these things. You can do what works for you. But I've really started getting in the habit of using this weekly plan sheet recently, and it's made a huge difference, because it's really helped me see, make sure that I'm really being intentional with my time, because honestly, our time is our best asset, and it's our, to me, it has the highest cost. I would rather spend more money on something, for somebody else to do it, than me spend time doing it and cost my time. So, each week, I made it a habit. Each week on Wednesdays, I create my weekly plan sheet for the next week. And it usually looks pretty similar week to week, but I just try to think about the different things that I know I need to get done. And so I have a system, a highlighter system that I use to keep up with all my stuff. And so I actually have 8 different highlighters, which you may think is nuts, and that's okay. You don't have to use this system if you don't want to. But I use green. Green shows where I'm going to be, when I'm going to be doing my success nights or any other beauty experiences or facials. So I just told you that I typically do mine on Monday and Tuesday nights for my success night. And then I make myself available on Thursday nights. And then I do Saturdays usually, unless I'm going to be out of town or something. And so I highlight those, fill in those times with green. So I know that time is already taken. I can't schedule career chats. I can't schedule anything else during those times. And then pink is booking time. So I like to book 2 nights a week, and I like to book for 3 hours each one. I don't like to book every single day. Some people would prefer to book for 30 minutes or an hour every day or a few days a week. You guys get to pick what works best for you. That's the beauty of this. But I like to book on Sunday evenings from about 5:30 to 8:30 or 5 to 8, something like that. And then I like to book on Wednesdays, usually in the evening as well. And so that gets highlighted in pink, and that's 6 hours of booking time. And so, that is what I need for the amount of faces that I want to see every single month. You probably are not going to be in the habit of doing that many faces. My goal is to see about 60 to 80 faces a month. So if your goal is half that, then you can book for half that amount of time. You just do what works for your goal and for your schedule. Let's see, then I have a color for coaching. So coaching meaning when I'm just going through my list of bookings and figuring out who I need to follow up with to get their skin type or to get them the address or whatever my next step is with them. You guys you heard about that in the booking and coaching session in Pink Boot Camp. And so I usually just spend about 15 minutes a day. I just color in a little, 15 to 30 minute block each day, Monday through Friday, to do my coaching because I need to look at it every single day. And then you would want to fill in when you're going to do your follow-up. So follow-up, I like to call it follow-up Friday. I just do it on Fridays. So that's when I follow up with customers who need to be, reached out to just to, see what they're low on. It's when I follow up with my consultants, with my team typically. And it's also when I follow up with prospects who I want to get booked for something else so I can be in front of them. So you can make that your follow-up Friday. So in your case as a consultant, you're probably going to be mainly focused on following up with customers and possibly prospects. Probably not really a lot of consultants on your team yet because your director is going to help you with that anyway. And then you would also want to have your job. If you're working full-time or you're working part-time or you're in school, you're going to want to fill that in with a color as well because you know that you're not available during that time. And then I also fill in family time. Okay, so this is time that I am non-negotiable going to spend with my husband, with my family, whoever. And typically that's going to be on Sunday afternoons, Wednesday nights, Friday nights, Saturday nights. And then, there's other times too where it works out, but those are just designated family times where I'm not going to schedule anything else. The other thing that I have is working out. So I work out 4 days a week in the morning. So that gets filled in with a color. And then if there's anything else, like if you know that you have things with your kids or you have church or there are other things that you're doing, then you need to make sure that it's on your weekly plan sheet. And then that just really gives you a good idea of where your time is being spent. We all have the same amount of time in the week. It's just a matter of how intentional are you being with your time? Are you able to say no to people? That's a whole other topic that we can talk about later. But there's some tips for you in your workbook. So this is some tips on time. These are some tips on time management. And I'm just going to point out a couple of them that really, I agree with all the tips that are on here, but the ones that really stood out to me the most that I definitely would want to encourage you to think about is when one of them says that you still work even when appointments cancel. So let's say that I have a party or like on a Saturday and they cancel at the last minute or they don't show up. Or let's say that my success night, my guests, I don't have anybody booked or nobody shows up. I'm still going to do something productive during that time. I'm not just going to go home and watch Netflix or hang out with my husband. I'm still going to do something, for my business, whether it's probably going to be something income producing, like booking more appointments or, following up with customers or something that is tied to producing me income. Because, if I were doing the beauty experience, the party or success night, I would probably be making money from that. So I want to do something to replace that. So you don't just go home. You just shift and you work on something else that's still related to your business. You scheduled yourself to work during that time, so you should be respectful to your business and still do that. Okay. And then another big thing on here is delegation. It's really, really important that you don't try to do everything. Okay. I figured out a while ago that I don't get joy out of cleaning my house. I don't get joy from cooking, and maybe some of you do get joy from those things, and that's okay. And if it's something that you like to do, then keep doing it. But if it's something that really is just taking up a lot of your time and stresses you out, then find somebody else to do it, hire somebody or get one of your kids to help you with it or ask your husband to do it or something. Because, if you're spending time on penny jobs, you're taking away from opportunities to be spent on dollar time. That's something that Mary Kay said. Basically what that means is if you're spending time with something like cleaning your house, doing the dishes, something like that, it can easily be delegated and it's taking away time that you could be spent making a lot more money, and so I have to be really careful not to get too wrapped up in, oh my gosh, the laundry's been sitting there for a few days, or oh my gosh, there's dishes sitting there and it needs to be cleaned up. Well, it can wait. It's more important that I get my booking calls done before I worry about the dishes, or if it does need to get done, is there somebody else in the house that can take care of it for you? So I do have somebody who comes to my house once a month to clean our house, because it's one less thing that I have to worry about, and I do try to delegate as much of other office tasks as I can. I do have an office assistant now, but when I was a consultant, I didn't have that. I did find a teenager in my neighborhood who could come and help me with small tasks like getting my skincare bags ready, and I paid her in product. I didn't have, extra. I wasn't doing enough, or didn't have enough to be able to, pay her a ton of money, and that was okay. So, if you have children and they're old enough, put them to work and, give them, that can be part of their allowance, if you do allowance. But try to delegate as much as you can, And then the other thing on here is talks about errands and doctor's appointments, trying to do those things all in the same day. Like if I know I need to schedule a doctor's appointment, a dentist appointment, my haircut, things like that, I try to do all those types of things in one day. Because if I space them out, then it just breaks up my day too much. I just want to knock it all out and get it done. And that's just a way to help manage your time and not be so reactionary. And then the last thing that can really be a huge time saver is having inventory on hand. If you have inventory on hand, then you're not going to be spending as much time running around delivering products and waiting for it to get here and then having to package it back up and label it and figure out where she lives, and it's just too much. And so if you have inventory on hand, then if you make that choice, then you're also choosing to make it a little bit easier on yourself. And again, you're not costing yourself more time, but you're also not costing yourself more money in gas and just, the headache of it. So those are all things that are on this sheet that I think really stand out, but there's other things on here that are definitely helpful. So just read over it. And then if you have questions about it or what it's really talking about, then of course ask your director and you guys can have a conversation about that. Okay, so next we're going to talk about money management. This is a big one. This is really, really important. Consultants do not typically, fail in Mary Kay because they don't know how to book or because they don't know enough people. They don't succeed in Mary Kay because they're not willing to be disciplined and consistent, but also because they're not willing to manage their time and manage their money. And so those are the two big things that we're talking about here. So if we look at this sheet, okay, it says the 60-40 split, money management. So we're going to walk through this a little bit in a little bit of detail. It might be a little bit painful, but it's really important. So the 60-40 split. So it says 40% in personal checking. So let's just say you sell $1,000. Okay. So $1,000. So 40% of that is your actual profit. So that would be $400. And then 50% is automatically going to go to restock what you sold. Okay. So 50% would be 500. And then 10% is going to go towards your business expenses. So that's going to include all the things that you see on this list down here. It says your preferred customer program, your pro pay, your website, supplies and samples, postage, shipping, workshops or events that we have throughout the year. Those are all going to cover your expenses. So it may not be that you're spending 10% of your profit each month, but over the course of the full year, it's going to add up and you're going to have that money and you're not going to have to pull it from somewhere else. The biggest expenses for me each year are, seminar, which is one of our big event every year in July. And so I know that throughout the year, I'm putting money aside for that. So it's not just this big hit, all at one time. So again, just be disciplined enough to take 10% of your profit each month and put it aside. And that way you're prepared when you need these things, because it's probably not going to just be the same every single month, but you're going to have it ready to go. Okay, so it says 60-40. So it says it right here. 50% is to restock your shelf, 10% is for expenses, and then your 40% goes in your personal checking account. And you may be using part of that 40% to pay back your initial investment that you made on your inventory. You may be using part of that to reinvest to build your inventory to a full store, and then the rest of it's going to be for whatever you came into Mary Kay for. Was it to put money in savings? Was it to send your child to camp? Was it to send your kid to college? Like what was that money for? And then you're going to be able to do that with that money. And so I want to go through the questions that are down here. It says pay down investment. The goal in Mary Kay is not for you to be in debt. It's for you to make a lot of money. But you can't make a lot of money if you don't have any Mary Kay product to sell. And so, some of you that are watching this chose to come into Mary Kay with product on hand, and some of you didn't. I'm guessing most of you probably came in with some amount of inventory. It may have been lower, like 600 or 1,200, or you may have been a higher star. And either way is fine. The common thread here is that regardless of where you came in with Mary Kay, if you're planning to still be a Mary Kay consultant in 3 to 6 months, then you're going to want to be at a full store eventually. Okay, and what I mean by if you're planning on still being in Mary Kay 3 to 6 months from now, we all know that there are people that come into Mary Kay who, they may even come in with inventory, but they're still really not sure if they're still going to really do this, and so they may not be in as big of a hurry to build their inventory to a full store. They're not all in yet, and that's okay. It may take them a little bit of time. Or they may not be here in 6 months. We don't know. But the ones of you that really know that this is what you want to do and you want to use Mary Kay as a way to create whatever it is that you came into Mary Kay to create, then it's going to behoove you to get to a full store as quickly as possible. But the beauty is that you get to decide how quickly that is. For me, I was uncomfortable not being at a full store. I came into Mary Kay with $3,600 at 22 years old, and I came into Mary Kay to make $1,000 a month. It was not to be a director. It was not to earn a car. It was not to be making training videos for consultants 5 years later. But I was smart enough to know that I needed to have inventory on hand, and I realized very quickly that I wanted to be able to take care of anybody at any time. I wanted everybody that came in contact with me to know that I had what they wanted, and I had it in bulk, and I had it available. And so it bothered me if I didn't have something, so I quickly went from $3,600 to $4,800 to higher, so for somebody who, a full store is considered $4,800, so I created over here on my whiteboard, I created a little scenario assuming that you came in with some inventory, and you can adjust this for yourself based on what you actually came in with. But this is actually based on a recent new consultant, and if she's watching this, she may know who I'm talking about. But what I did was I totaled up how much does she spend on her initial inventory, and that includes tax and it includes shipping. Okay, and the goal is, how quickly. It's not even a goal. You get to decide how quickly you pay off that initial investment. Okay. Now, my goal was to pay it off within 12 months, and I did that. The reason I wanted to pay it off in 12 months is because I had 0% interest on that credit card for 12 months. And I wanted to take all 12 months because I wanted to take as much of a profit as I could, but I also wanted to be responsible and get that paid off within 12 months and not pay any interest. So I'm basing this over here on my whiteboard on you wanting to pay off your initial investment within 12 months. And I'm also basing this on you want to get to a $4,800 inventory within 6 months. Okay. And you can adjust that for you if those numbers don't, add up for you. If you want to change that, you can. But I want you guys to have the formula and be really clear to understand how this works. And so if you look at the questions down here on the bottom, it says, what is your total investment? So in this case, if you look up here, it says $3,200 total on her initial inventory. Okay, so that includes what she spent on the inventory itself, like the wholesale inventory, and then it also includes the tax and the shipping. Okay, and then it says over here, goal is to pay it off in 12 months. Okay, and the other goal is out of this $3,200, $2,000, she has $2,000 wholesale, like physically on her shelf that she can sell. And the goal is to get to $4,800 on her shelf within 6 months. So the goal is to pay off this initial investment within 12 months, and to get to $4,800 wholesale on her shelf within 6 months. Okay? And so what I did is I divided 3,200 divided by 12 months is roughly $266 a month. And just to be really clear, this money is coming from your Mary Kay profit. Okay, it's not coming from your job or your husband's job or anybody else. This is coming from your Mary Kay money. So it's based on you are working your Mary Kay business. If you're not working your Mary Kay business, then you're not going to have the money to be able to do this, which is where people mess up. Okay, and so that's based on you're going to pay about $266 a month from your Mary Kay profit for 12 months to pay that off. And then over here, you're going to reinvest $470 each month from your Mary Kay profit for 6 months to get to your full store at $4,800. Okay? Now I also base this on these two things happening each month, but then I also factored in you're still going to get to take a little bit of a profit, and you're still going to be taking your 10% for your business expenses. So the way I've formulated it is you sell $2,500 in a month. Okay, so half of that is $1,250. That's your profit, and the other $1,250, WS stands for wholesale. So $1,250 is going to be your wholesale reorder. Okay, so that wholesale reorder, if you look at what this says right here, it says it just restocks what you sold. It's just replacing what you sold. It's not adding to your inventory. It's just replacing it. Okay, so that's really simple. And then the other $1,250 profit that you have, this is where these two things are going to come into play, as well as your 10% business expenses. So it says right here, $266 of this $1,250 will pay off that initial investment up there. Okay, so you'll do that for 12 months in a row, and you will have that completely paid off. And then there's $470, which is what we talked about over here. That's going to go towards reinvesting in your store so that you're at a $4,800 full store. All right. And then 10% of the $1,250 profit is roughly $125. So you're going to put that away for your business expenses, for the things that we talked about that you're going to have throughout the year. And then the remaining amount of that is $389. So that you could actually take home and you can use it for something. You can put it in savings, or you can use it for something with your family, or whatever you want to do with that. If you wanted to take that other $389 and you wanted to reinvest that in your inventory to build it quicker, or you wanted to use it to pay off your credit card quicker, you can. I was just the person when I started Mary Kay where I needed to see some profit. Otherwise, I wasn't going to be as motivated. But if you're not that person, if you're not as driven by money and you want to just pay it off quicker or get to your full inventory quicker, then you can choose to do that. So going back to this, for you to sell $2,500 in a month, if we're basing that just on you holding beauty experiences and seeing faces, then it'd be you seeing about 30 faces a month. Okay, if we're basing that on $75 a person. Some people say 100. I like to go with 75 to get a little bit more conservative and a little bit more cautious. So 2,500 divided by 75 is almost $2,500. Okay, and then you could also factor in your customer reorders, because within a couple months you're going to start. If you see 30 faces this month, then within 2 or 3 months you're going to have some of those same people are going to need some of the things that they bought from you. And so you're going to start getting customer reorders, and that's going to add to your sales. So I hope that this makes sense. If it doesn't, or if you're really, unsure about what I'm talking about, please ask me or ask your director. But money management is super critical. We want you to be making money. We want you to be paying off your initial investment, so that you're not paying any interest, and so that you get that done. And we also want you to get to your full store so that you're able to service anybody that you want to service as a Mary Kay consultant. Okay. The last thing we're going to talk about is a little bit about office organization. So I don't know about you guys, but I love organization stuff. It's fun to me. I've always been that way. And it just helps you feel more professional and feel like you really have things in place and you're not just scattered all over the place. So when I first started Mary Kay, I was living with my parents. So I had my own room and it had a desk and I had space in there, but I really didn't, I didn't have my own apartment. I didn't have my own house. And then I moved to my own apartment and I just had kind of a little nook area where I kept my stuff, my Mary Kay stuff. And then I moved in with my now husband. We got engaged and, bought a house together. And I made sure that I had an office because that was really important to me. And that's what we're in right now. This is my office. And so you don't have to have a fancy office. You don't have to have a whole room if you don't have it. You just have to have some space dedicated to your Mary Kay business. And I think it's really helpful if you have a desk. I think that's helpful if you have a computer or at least a tablet and a printer. I just have a black and white printer and I do all my color printing at Office Depot. That's something else I would write down, and I would get the discount card off of Mary Kay InTouch or get it from your director because we get a really, really good deal on printing from Office Depot. So I never print anything in bulk at home, but if I just need to print out a page or two or just need to print out profile sheets or something that's in black and white, I just do it at my house. And then I would definitely have some bookshelves or a hutch or something for your inventory. So I think I tell this at just about every single orientation that I do now for new consultants. But when when we bought this house and I got this office, there's actually a closet right here. And there's plenty of room for me to put most of my inventory in there. But I intentionally went to Target and bought these little pretty white shelves that are right in front of me over here. And they weren't super expensive, and I got them to put all my inventory on because I knew that if I could see them every single day, it would be a reminder that I have a cash cow sitting in my office that I can milk from and I can make money from, and I should never be stressed about money. And so that was an intentional decision that I made. So I would make the same one if I were you. And then I actually have over here, if you can see it, so these little Miracle set bags that you see, those are actually where I put sales tickets, and I put profile cards that need to be entered into Mary Kay InTouch. So my assistant knows when she comes here each week that those are all sitting there waiting for her to get here. And I label for her on the profile card if they're a PCP customer, if they are not going to be a PCP customer. And you're going to learn about what PCP means in your next video on customer service. And then with the sales tickets, she has those too. And so that way she can enter in my customers and she can enter in what they bought from me and keep up with my customers. And that's how I've continued to build a really great customer base. So I just have that, I like as little on my desk as possible. So I like things hung up if possible. So that's just an idea for you. Let's see. I also would make sure that you have an ongoing record of what you pull from your inventory for demo. So like when you run out of your, the stuff that came in your starter kit as a new consultant, you're going to run out of it because you're going to keep seeing 30 faces a month. So when you do that, when you run out of it, you pull it from your shelf, but you make sure that you write it down on a receipt. So it's almost like you're writing yourself a receipt, like you're the customer. And I just write demo, and I usually just have one for each month. You don't have to have one for each month. You could have one for the whole year if you wanted, but I think it's easier just to have one for each month. So I write demo, January, whatever month it is. And then I just write on the receipt the things that I pulled from my inventory for demo, or anything that I pull for myself or that I pull for my husband or as a gift or anything that I can write off. And so those are all things that you can write off. The things that you pull for demo, the things that you pull for yourself or for anybody in your family that you're giving them for free. I obviously don't charge my husband. So I write all that stuff down, and that way I can write it off at the end of the year. So that's really important. The next thing is I do have a place where I put my dirty mirrors and dirty brushes. So that way, again, every time my assistant comes each week, she knows where they go. And so she knows to look there for the dirty ones. And then she, cleans all the brushes for me, the brush heads and the liquid foundation brushes. And she re-puts together my little, facial packs with my mirror and my facial cloth and my cotton rounds and all of that, and puts it all back in my starter kit bag and puts it back in my car. So either you're going to be doing that, you're going to have a child do it for you, or a teenager do it, or whoever, but it has to be something that, is done, whether it's by you or somebody else. And then the other thing I was going to suggest is that we were talking about those, we were talking about Success by Saturday at the beginning of this video. And so I would make sure that you just go ahead and print out, 12 copies or however many of those Success by Saturday tracking sheets. And that way you just already have them ready to go. I keep them in my office, like on my desk, or you can keep them in your binder, whatever. But you want to have things like that you're going to be using each month. You want to go ahead and just print them out so that they're ready to go. Okay. And then the last thing that's in our packet is about taxes. I am not going to go through this because it's really boring. Okay, but this just shows you all the things that you can write off as a Mary Kay Beauty consultant. And so you just, part of what I talked about before about demo and things like that, you want to make sure that you're keeping up with all that. So I just have like a little accordion folder, and it just has each month labeled, and I just put all the receipts that I can that, fit into these categories in there, so it's kept up with. The other way that you can make this really clean and simple is only use one credit card and one debit card for your business, and then everything else, that's personal, goes on something else. So that's why when you become a Mary Kay consultant, it's important to have a separate checking account for your business. I just choose to put everything that's Mary Kay related onto my Mary Kay credit card, and then I pay it off with my debit card. You don't want to keep a balance on it, of course. And so I paid off with my debit card because that's coming from my sales. So you can choose to do that. I know a lot of people treat their credit card like a debit card so that they get the points, but of course you don't want to carry a balance. You don't want to carry debt. I don't want you to be in debt. I just, you get to decide whether you want to use a debit card or a credit card. But the point is, you don't want to mix anything personal in your family with your Mary Kay checking account or credit card, because then it becomes a lot messier for your taxes at the end of the year, and then that's just not fun. So I do more training on this at the end of the year when it's time to prepare your taxes and start thinking about that. But just look through this. There's lots of things that you can write off. The biggest things are mileage and all your demo products, what you pay for events, what you pay for success nights, all travel expenses when we go to events, of course. If you are paying any interest on your, initial inventory, then, you want to make sure that you're writing that off too. Dry clean that you're doing for your Mary Kay clothing, possibly. You want to keep all of your packing slips that come in your Mary Kay boxes when you do your orders each month. Make sure that you're keeping all those and just stick it wherever the month goes, or whatever month it's for. You can actually write off your cell phone. You guys get the picture. So just look through this and just make sure that you're keeping track of these things. It's not going to become, there's going to be a lot more of it if you decide to make Mary Kay more full-time, if you decide to become a sales director. But even as an independent beauty consultant, there are a lot of tax write-offs available to you. I'm not a tax person. I'm not an accountant by any means. I'm not a financial advisor. But I've done this for 5 years, and so I would definitely look at this and make sure that you're capturing as much of it as you can. What we're aware of is the success checklist that's in your workbook. So it really is detailed and says at the top, it says there's a couple things that you want to be focused on at the beginning of the month, mid-month, and end of the month, and then there's things that you want to be focused on weekly. So this is assuming that you're wanting to really build a business with Mary Kay, and that you're in the category of consultants who want to create at least $600 or more per month. So someone's wanting to do Mary Kay as a hobby, they're not going to probably follow this checklist, and that's okay. But I'm not going to read it all to you, but it's just some of the things at the top are just more tasky, just making sure that you've done your order, making sure that you submitted for your prizes, you submitted your Success by Saturday, that kind of stuff. And then weekly, I have it broken up into the 4 different things that a consultant is going to be focusing their time on. So booking and coaching, customer service, team building, and administrative stuff. Okay, so look over this. And again, if you have questions or you want to, I would have a more specific conversation with your director, because she's going to have a better idea of what your goals are and what your focus is. And then at the bottom, it just says personal and business development things that you should be doing to help further your business and grow. And so this just really pulls everything together. This just pulls everything together basically from all the different boot camp topics that we are going over in these videos. It just pulls it all together so that you can really see, okay, this is what I really need to be focused on each week. This is what I need to make sure I'm doing at the beginning of the month, etc. So please look over this and ask your director questions or have a separate conversation with her about it. So that completes the business management session in Pink Bootcamp. So if you flip back to the front page, it has the 3 focuses that you should be focusing on that kind of go with this topic. And so number 1 is to fill out your weekly plan sheet with your ideal Mary Kay schedule, and make sure you don't have to have highlighters if you don't want to. I just like having highlighters so that I know what each thing means. But with your ideal Mary Kay schedule, it's going to mean that you're going to include your job and all the other things that are going on in your life, and then you're going to fill in when are you available to work your Mary Kay business, when are you available to do your booking, do your coaching, do customer service, hold your beauty experiences. Basically the 4 things that are on this monthly success checklist in the middle, or the weekly success checklist in the middle. And then focus number 2 says to create your focus folder. You might have already created your focus folder by now, and if you have, you can just check it off and you know that you're done, because creating your focus folder is part of your one of the checklists in your welcome packet. And then focus number 3 is setting up your Mary Kay bank account. Actually, all 3 of these things are part of one of the 2 checklists in your welcome packet. So you may have already done them, and if you have, just check it off the list. And if you haven't, just make sure that you focus on getting those things done. And then, of course, make sure that you fill out the answers down here to these questions, and then just submit all this to your director however she has told you to submit it.